Welcome viewers to the January 28th edition of 284 News. I am Jacques Wooding bringing you our top stories from this week. Thank you so much for joining us. Leading this broadcast, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force has confirmed that 24-year-old Cane Garden Bay resident Javonte WATTLEY has been found. WATTLEY was reportedly located Friday morning unharmed, according to a media statement by the police. Head of the Criminal Investigation Department Unit, Chief Inspector Israel Sargent, noted his appreciation to the public for the concern and responsiveness to the missing persons report. The initial report from the police said that WATTLEY did not return home after work on Wednesday night and also did not report to his workplace the following morning. The police have also confirmed a shooting incident in Zion Hill West End, Tortola on Thursday evening. The invited comment from the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force said one person is being treated for injuries at the hospital. No further information is available at this time. Prior to the confirmation from police, multiple residents reported hearing gunshots, which they said resulted in one male being injured after receiving multiple wounds. More to come on this story as it develops. In other news, several issues continue to impact medicinal care and emergency response on each of the main sister islands across the British Virgin Islands. Kamal Haynes has more.
This is according to a recent document observed by 284 News, which was prepared by the Sister Islands Unit and the Office of the Deputy Governor. But the document highlighted several issues in an assessment conducted in 2022 that involved various government departments, units, and organizations. Where these entities included the BVI Health Services Authority, the Fire and Rescue Department, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, Virgin Islands Search and Rescue, district offices on each of the main sister islands, and business owners within the hospitality industry. But issues found within the government-based entities ranged from lack of staffing to lack of supplies and equipment, and found a huge inconsistency with protocols that exist for medical evacuation. As it relates to lack of staffing, the assessment found that all entities interviewed spoke to a need for adequate staffing, with some departments operating with less than a skeleton staff and not receiving the support needed to properly execute their duties. On the topic of supplies and equipment, entities expressed having to wait sometimes for 1 to 2 months for critical supplies needed to carry out their duties. The absence of an ambulance on Jos Van Dyke was also highlighted, considering the large elderly population and high influx of tourists, which emphasizes the critical need for such on the island. But the assessment also found that no established process or course of action for emergency response exists on the sister islands of Jos Van Dyke and Anegada. It further revealed that despite having processes in place for Virgin Gorda, they were found to be, and I quote, flawed and filled with operational challenges that must be remedied, end quote. The document said, and I quote, most residents opt to use their own connections and resources to get loved ones transported to the main island of Tortola. But this poses to be quite stressful for residents and should be established within the ministry and shared with communities. There have been several noted incidents that have taken place over the course of the year that have had ill or damaged residents waiting hours for medical evacuation, end quote. A discovery was also made that a lack of awareness and information on the steps to be taken in the event of emergency after the clinic exists among residents on Jos Van Dyke and Anegada. What the report said, and I quote, during a medical emergency, average sister island resident does not have a full understanding of the process that should be taken after clinical assessment or even which number to call for EMT assistance. Additionally, with the amount of tourists that visit the sister islands, it is important that communities are fully aware of steps, end quote. One of the main findings from the study conducted on the businesses and community members was the lack of trust in the existing medical and emergency response system. It said, and I quote, community members interviewed shared a common lack of trust in the system and opt to seek medical attention off island if possible. Additionally, some have even chosen to sign waivers so as to not be transferred to the hospital to receive medical care. Most do not contact the emergency switchboard and make calls directly to persons working with fire and rescue or visor in the event of an emergency, end quote. But the report also proposed a number of solutions to remedy problems that were discovered, but these include having stakeholder sessions, the establishment of protocols, emergency training, establishment of medical evacuation processes on each sister island, budgeting for staffing, ambulance, boats, barracks, and an ambulance in 2024, the development of quicker requisitioning, and hosting community awareness sessions. Reporting for 284 News, I am Kamal Haynes.
And with that, we take a quick word from our sponsors. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Welcome to the 103rd season of the NFL!
It's that time for the NFL playoffs every weekend with CCT Live, showing every game on CBS, NBC, ABC, and ESPN, including the Super Bowl. Sign up for CCT Live today.
There's no game like this game!
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and ask about a 1-month free trial to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
It feels good!
Catch the game on CCT Live. To sign up, go to cctbvi.com or call center at 444-4444.
Yo, everything good, Dad?
Aye. This thing got me one way, Daddy.
What do you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What do you really? Hey, this ain't like you, know.
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out that trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit. I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I huff. I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
Welcome back and thank you so much for staying with us. Premier Dr. The Honorable Natalia Weasley has denounced the recent claim made by a local media site, which alleged that he slept on the floor of Antigua's International Airport, calling the article reckless, inaccurate, and misleading. More in this report.
The article was published by Guava Berry Media on their Facebook page on Sunday and alleged that Premier Wheatley reportedly slept on the floor of the VC Bird International Airport in Antigua. Well, the article claimed that it happened while in transit to London for his official visit to meet with representatives of the United Kingdom government. Well, the Premier's office issued an official statement just hours after the publication at around 11:57 p.m. on Sunday, advising the public that the information was, and I quote, irresponsibly communicated by others and is inaccurate and misleading, end quote. Our Premier Wheatley, during a press conference this morning, echoed those sentiments after being questioned by the media on the incident.
Let me just say, without unequivocally and without a shadow of a doubt, I did not sleep on the floor of the airport. And I think it's, again, reckless, it's inaccurate, and it's misleading. And the story also, I would say, unfairly has a negative focus on my support team. Let me just recognize the excellent support that I got from my permanent secretary, Mrs. Carolyn Stout-Igwe, Miss Donnell Davies, who is overseeing the International Affairs Secretariat right now, and all the other team and the efforts that they made to make sure I was comfortable as possible and everything went smoothly. The entire trip went very smoothly. Of course, that incident was unavoidable, and we made the best out of the situation that existed.
The Premier also provided details on what transpired on the night in question to paint an accurate description from his point of view.
A flight due to leave Antigua for the United Kingdom, I think it was somewhere around 8:40 was supposed to leave. But very close to midnight, the flight still had not taken off. We actually had boarded the plane. We had to deplane. And at that point, of course, it was clear that the plane would not be taken off. Immediately, of course, the officials from Virgin Atlantic said that we're going to try our best, and officials from the airport, to find accommodations for you. Of course, the accommodations at that time, because I believe there were maybe 2 or 3 other flights that got into the same situation, and all the hotels were booked. So we were advised just to wait in the airport until a hotel became available. And when the hotel became available, we went to the hotel, and then we were able to engage the BVI London office through a virtual call. And of course, later in that day, we were able to catch our plane and go to the United Kingdom.
Premier Wheatley also urged the media company to take down the article, as he reiterated the misleading nature of the information presented.
And I'm grateful for the concern that persons have shared, receiving that report. But certainly that report should be discarded. The one from Guava Berry Media should be discarded because it's inaccurate and misleading.
Reporting for 284 News, I am Kamal Haynes.
Despite his promises of addressing and requesting the removal of the order in council, which presently looms over the territory, Premier Wheatley in a recent press conference confirmed that the order in council is still in effect and that negotiations are ongoing.
Yes, the order in council is still in existence. Of course, for the order in council to be removed, that would certainly have to happen as a result of intervention by the Foreign Secretary, who, of course, the Overseas Territory Minister reports to. And certainly we've had a very good discussion with the Overseas Territory Minister. Our discussions have not yet concluded. So certainly when he comes next week, we intend to engage on that particular matter. It's a matter, of course, that I pledged to the people of the Virgin Islands that I would do my part in raising and advocating for. And I continue to believe that this is the right step and the right approach to remove that order in council. And so we look forward to discussions with the minister next week as it pertains to that.
The order in council gives the unelected governor the power to suspend the Virgin Islands Constitution and impose direct rule of the Virgin Islands if the territory does not implement the recommendations made in the Commission of Inquiry. In other news, Minister for Communications and Works Honorable Kai Reimer believes that efforts to address the territory's road safety issues from a legislative standpoint will have a minimal impact, as the true issues plaguing the roadways are a lack of obedience and enforcement of the law. More in this report. You can take a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. A proverb reflecting the views of Minister for Communications and Works Honorable Kai Reimer as it relates to the adherence of Virgin Islanders to regulations on road use and safety. Reimer told Tola Radio, though he agrees that a revision of the existing law is necessary, the true issue lies in obedience and enforcement of whatever law is in place.
Yeah, well, most definitely we need to continue to revise the laws. But most definitely laws, however, they're only as good as the people obeying the laws and those who are supposed to enforce it. So we have laws on the books, but if adhere to, no one is obeying them, it might as well there's nothing on the books. You could say we're going to increase the fines, you would ban them, you could do all manner of things, but then, then it comes down to who is studying the law or who is enforcing it, or if there's any enforcement at all.
Reflecting on days gone by, Reimer specifically highlighted an apparent lapse in enforcement at the hands of the police, which has nurtured a disrespect within the community towards the use of the road.
Yeah, once you hit the road, you're fearful because the police is somewhere around the corner, so you would always put on your helmet. Even back then, you get in your car, you would put on your seatbelt because you think you're going to get a ticket. You had police around the area. But I think that has gone out the door.
He noted that to solve the issue, there must be a multifaceted approach.
It should be a collaborative effort. We should consider educating the rider, the road users. That is important. And I'm not just speaking about young persons, I'm speaking about mature users of the road as well.
Ultimately, Reimer urged members of the public to take responsibility for themselves on the territory's roadways. For 284 News, I am Jacka Wooding. Director for Tourism Clive McCoy cleared the air on the Tours Board's impending appointment of an events manager and what this will mean for existing event committees in the territory following public backlash triggered by an advertisement of the job posting. Director of the BVI Tourist Board, Clive McCoy, has set the record straight surrounding the Tourist Board's ongoing search for an events manager after advertisements for the post became subject to backlash from members of the public. In social media posts seen by our newsroom, members of the public raised several questions on the wording of the job posting, which included a job summary stating that, among other things, the events manager would be responsible for an emancipation festival on Virgin Gorda, an activity which does not exist, and an error which McCoy admitted was on part of the Tourist Board.
That was a mispost. We posted that in error, and we have since then adjusted it to reflect exactly what the position is for. That was an error on our part.
Outside of semantics, there was significant concern surrounding what the appointment of the events manager would mean for the Virgin Gorda Easter Festival Committee and the Virgin Islands Festival and Fairs Committee. This was mainly due to an extensive 21-point list of job functions advertised with the position. According to the list, the events manager would be the one tasked to plan events from start to finish according to requirements, target audience, and objectives, coordinate all operations as it pertains to events and festivals in the territory, handling logistics as it pertains to any event, and ensure the execution of cultural activities and entertaining at various points of entry on high visitor arrival days, among other things. In response to these concerns, McCoy explained the supplementary role that the events manager is meant to play alongside the existing committees for the time being.
We always have somebody at the BVI Tourist Board that assists with the festival, so that's not something that will change. Like I said, we always have somebody there to assist and make sure that we understand what is going on with the festivals. So that wouldn't change. That wouldn't change. Now, I mean, things can change, by this time. We're just going to basically work on how we normally have done things. Things can change. We're always trying to find ways to make things better here in the Virgin Islands. Fluid between all the departments and the committees. But as of today, we're going to just be responsible as how we have been in the past.
Persons interested in learning more about the available position can access the job posting at bvitourism.bamboohr.com/careers/34. For 284 News, I am Jacques Wooding. We now take a word from our sponsors, but stay with us because there's more when 284 News returns.
Catch the game on CCT Live. To sign up, go to cctbvi.com or call center at 444-4444.
Hun, it's asking for your password.
Huh?
You were logged out. I need the password.
BR.
What's the rest?
BRANDI, the number 4, EVER?
Who's Brandy?
We're like the password that isn't your ex-girlfriend's name. CG Insurance. Good like that.
I should have changed it.
You should have.
You're right.
Is business slow? Cash flow down? Hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media at cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
That's out. That's 6. That's out.
With worldwide medical coverage and affordable premiums, we're like a home match that isn't played at your actual home. CG Insurance. Good like that.
My turn. Oh, come on, guys.
Freeze. Choose your mix. Choose your flavor.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Members of the BVI Health Services Authority officially launched a new laboratory with a ceremony at the Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital this week. The laboratory will serve as the Center for Laboratory Services here in the Virgin Islands and stands poised at benefiting the public in providing faster and more efficient services. Ron Grant has more in this report.
We are here at the Dr. D. Orlando Smith, the BVI Health Services Authority Laboratory. The newly commissioned and open laboratory is expected to be of top-notch service to the residents of the British Virgin Islands. It is also expected to be accredited in the coming months. Of course, this has been due to the hard work of the BVI Health Services Authority and particularly the workers here at the laboratory. Let's take a look. The ceremonies, which was attended by dignitaries as well as staff of the BVIHSA, saw a number of speakers expressing gratitude to the staff for their hard work in getting to this point.
There's something special about this lab and the certification that it will receive this year. It will be the first and only overseas territory lab that will be certified. That's a big deal, a very, very big deal. The board of directors extend our great appreciation to the ministry, to everyone involved with ensuring that the BVI receives the best quality services from this lab. We extend also our deepest appreciation to the Rotary Club. Thank you again. Let's give them another round of applause for the great donations and support it has given the BVIHSA overall, but most specifically to this laboratory.
We are excited about this expansion and what it represents for us as a territory. We see the services that the lab manager outlined and the intention to make this place a center of excellence, not just for the BVI, but for the region. I think that has to be our goal for the entire facility, to make the facility a center of excellence. So persons can continue to come to the BVI from within the region to access service. I know we were well on our way in that endeavor. I think we had some hiccups, but we intend to continue to move in that direction. As I said, government is a continuum. I think it's important for us, once these initiatives that are important to the institution and the country begins, that we continue those initiatives despite who is the minister or who is the government in place. Because at the end of the day, we have to do what is the best interest for our country. So as a ministry, I want to commend the ministry for the work they've done to facilitate the infrastructural build-out of this facility, to facilitate the administrative and policy shift that the HSA is undertaking.
Minister for Health, the Honorable Marlene Penn, took time to elaborate on the significance of this milestone and encourage residents to take advantage of these services.
No, I'm very excited about this transition. As you know, the Health Services Authority received accreditation just recently, and now we've expanded from our old lab facility to this new expanded facility where we're not just going to have a bigger space, we're offering more enhanced services, longer hours, and it provides more service to the population and the wider region in terms of laboratory service. As I said earlier in my remarks, I expect this facility to be a center of excellence, not just for BVI, but for the region. So persons could come to us, validate their tests, and be able to come here and get the services that they need, healthcare services that they need. And it's an exciting time for us in health services. As I've been saying constantly, there needs to be a partnership between the public health system and the private health system to be able to offer the level of service that the people of this territory require and need and deserve. It's a big deal for us here. The HSA is a big deal for us as a territory. But I believe we need to offer, and BVI has always been about high service, excellence, and the center of excellence is what I'm striving for in terms of our healthcare. And us to be able to offer those services in the region is a big deal. I know we started that process. We had our medical labs, clinics with HEMA, and the relationship that we formed with the private sector and persons outside in Puerto Rico, the HEMA network. We had specialty doctors come into the hospital and offer certain services to the territory. We've now expanded our Rotan clinic. Yes. We have upgraded facility. We're now in the final steps of finalizing that process to be able to offer those specialized services again to the public and a wider region in the hospital. So we're excited about the possibilities for healthcare in the BVI and the people in Dr. Orlando Smith Hospital leading the way in offering those services to the territory and to the region.
Thanks to the kind contribution of the Rotary Club of Tortola, the lab at the Dr. D. Orlando Smith Hospital was able to receive a number of high-quality equipment. The Chief of Laboratory Services, Mrs. Davion Nicholson, took time to explain the importance of the equipment received as well as to express thanks to the Rotary Club of Tortola and her staff at the BVIHSA for their diligence in seeing the project to this point.
Rotary Club donated the equipment that you're seeing there is the equipment that can do all the different testing, especially when you donate a unit of blood. We will be able to run the different tests, and you can get that unit of blood just as we receive it,
Understood.
same day, back to the same patient. So in-house now, with all the equipment that they donated to us, that gave us the ability to able to run all the different tests.
How important is this to the moving forward of the laboratory?
That is so important, and I think I need to pull my mask to show you the expert. So important to the community, because without blood, we're nowhere. And that is very, 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 very important to this community. And I can attest to persons don't have to be afraid to come here and get the test done, because if you want your family to get your blood, your family can get your blood. If you want to get your own blood, you can get your own blood. So don't be afraid. I'm so excited. I just wanted to smile. I just want to, because our staff in-house is excellent on doing everything, but it's just that we didn't have the equipment to get it done on ground. So salute to the Rotary Club.
For 284 News, I'm Ron Grant.
Indefinite delays surrounding the BVI's journey to establish a medicinal cannabis industry may be coming to an end following announcements from Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley that his recent meetings in the United Kingdom bore positive news in that regard. More in this report. Premier Dr. the Honorable Natalia Wheatley has revealed that among his recent meetings in the United Kingdom, he and his delegation met with representatives of the UK Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office and the UK Home Office to discuss medicinal cannabis, with particular focus on licensing of medical practitioners in the Virgin Islands to administer medicinal cannabis to patients. During his official statement, Wheatley said that these parties emerged from those meetings with, quote, a way forward in respect to medicinal cannabis, end quote. The next step, he said, will be to discuss these matters with the governor and his cabinet and determine how it would be approached by way of legislation.
Well, certainly, having just had that very positive meeting with the Home Office, I intend to, as soon as possible, engage with the governor's office as well as my cabinet colleagues as it pertains to how we approach legislation moving forward. Of course, as you know, there was the Cannabis Licensing Act that was due for assent. We'll have discussions as to whether that's the way that we want to go. Right now, because we have legislation on our books that allows the Minister for Health to be able to create regulations that will essentially allow cannabis to be legally administered in the BVI. You know, that presently exists. So we're going to have some discussions with the governor's office. We had a very good discussion on that same topic with the Home Office, and they were very supportive.
According to Wheatley, while the UK officials were very supportive, their main concern in this area surrounded the need for expertise for a responsibly managed industry.
They're interested in ensuring that we have the expertise and we have the regime in place to ensure that we can do so in a responsible manner. And that's something that we're committed to as well, because of course we know that any substance can be abused, and it's important that you have structures and regimes in place to ensure that that abuse doesn't take place here in the Virgin Islands, to make sure that access to drugs is controlled and regulated properly.
For 284 News, I am Jacka Wooding. And that is all we have for you today. Be sure to follow us for daily news updates at 284media.com and like us on Facebook at 284BVI and 284BVI on Instagram and Twitter. I'm Jacka Wooding, and I'll see you again next week. Have a safe and enjoyable weekend. Goodbye.